We're joined now by Marcin Terlik. He's a journalist with ONET. Marcin, welcome back to TP World. Thanks for taking the time.
Hello, good morning. Thank you.
Good morning. So, Margrethe Vestager, she's the European Commission's Executive Vice President for Europe for the Digital Age. She's arriving in Warsaw today. What's the plan?
Well, I believe one of the issues discussed will be cybersecurity, especially in the context of European elections that are going to happen in a couple of weeks, actually in, less than 3 weeks from now. There's been a lot of discussions about it, about the threats, cyber threats before these elections in Europe. In Poland as well, however, I believe not that much as it was before previous elections in 2019, as the threats from Russia kind of materialized and went far beyond the cyberspace in the last 2 years.
Right on the agenda, from what I gathered, there's also a meeting with the representatives of startups, and I wanted to ask you about artificial intelligence, because there are some regulations, right, that are being put in place in Europe. So how is it influencing the startup community? I've heard that some people are turning away, perhaps moving their businesses. What's happening on that front?
It's been also a big issue. Europe trying to compete with United States and China, but mostly United States, who are leading in this technological competition, this technological race in the world. European Union and other European countries, political leaders for years, they've been repeating that we want to build startups in Europe. We want to create a friendly environment. Obviously, in Poland as well, there were these promises. We have quite vibrant and developing tech industry in Poland. Probably the best example would be the sector of video games, but as well in the regular startups, it also obviously exists, and the government is trying to support it. But we have to admit we're far beyond countries like United States or China in this respect.
Yeah, Marcin, I mean, this is a little bit disappointing, isn't it, the picture that you paint? On the one hand, as you say, we, as in the EU, has been talking about supporting startups, creating hubs and so on, but nothing's happened. And related to that, I suppose, that attitude is reflected in the face of the Russian threat. I mean, the Russian interference in European and US elections is nothing new. There have been accusations of that for years and years now. What's holding everyone back? I mean, we should be on top of the game on this, shouldn't we?
Well, sure, but I also believe that actually it's quite difficult to combat these cyber threats, as some of the techniques used by Russian and other hackers are quite simple. I will give an example of, I think, the biggest cyber scandal, let's say, in Poland in last years. That was the leak of emails of Michał Dworczyk, who was the chief of office of Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki, the previous Polish Prime Minister, and several, tens, hundreds of his emails from his private email box were stolen, and then they were published one by one for over 2 or 3 years. And it included a lot of sensitive political information regarding political backgrounds and also Polish security and defense. And as far as we know, of course, there are a lot of mysteries around it, but as far as we know, it was the simple phishing method of breaking his email box. So we can invest millions or billions of euros zlotys, dollars, whatever, in cybersecurity, in building complex system, whereas many very important attacks on both politicians and also on private companies happen on the human level, like human error of someone clicking or opening the attachment that he shouldn't open. And these are things that I think are very hard to fight with in investing in technology. It's more about the social awareness of these threats. And that's growing, but slowly.
Right, to make ourselves feel better, Hillary Clinton's email was also hacked, some time ago, right?
Indeed, and that was phishing as well, I think.
So again, human error. But speaking about regulations and things that can be tackled from a legal standpoint, we had the Pegasus scandal recently in Poland. So what is are we going to sort of aim for, or is there perhaps already in place some form of regulation on that kind of spyware and things that can be used by governments on the European level? What is allowed, what isn't allowed, and will there be some discussion around that kind of stuff?
Well, that's actually that may be quite surprising in Poland, as this Pegasus scandal was very prominent, and there was a lot of talking about the usage of this spyware system by state agencies, and we have now special parliamentary inquiry into it, and a lot of accusations towards politicians. It's very present in public debate. However, there is no much debate about legal solutions and the legal barriers towards state agencies, and I believe that the new government of Poland that was very much using this argument of Pegasus scandal in their campaign is not actually now when they are in power and they are controlling the state agencies, they are not much interested into limiting their powers. However, as far as we know, Pegasus is no longer used in Poland, but it's not happening because of legal regulations and legal changes, but because the Israeli producer just finished the license.
Right. Now, moving to the private sector and the corporate sector, how widespread is commercial espionage across the European Union? I mean, China has a reputation, does it not, for stealing secrets from the US and from Europe. How are we responding to that?
Well, again, I believe it's mostly social awareness and kind of trying to limit the human errors there. We can see it in big companies, in big corporations who are very concerned about their security of their data, mostly because of those ransom attacks that we had several of them. It doesn't have to be necessarily political. It's purely, let's say, economical. It's like ransom. Yeah, someone steals data of the big company, blocks the access to this super important information for business, and then asks for huge money to give it back. And I think the private sector developed very much in recent years in this respect, in creating the awareness of their employees, and we can see it in big companies. That's one of the first trainings that the new employees can be here very sensitive. That one of the first trainings they get is how to protect themselves from this kind of threats.
So I guess we have to take care of our own safety, as it's in our own interest, right? Marcin Terlik, journalist, thank you, sir, for being with us this morning.
Thank you very much.